You know the feeling, that deep, systemic exhaustion that a good night's sleep doesn't touch. The brain fog that feels like wading through syrup. The unexplained weight gain that stubbornly sticks, or the hair coming out in clumps in the shower. The creeping sense that your body's engine is just idling. In our go-go-go culture, we often call this burnout, or just the cost of modern life. We push through, thinking it's a mental problem to solve with more coffee or another productivity hack. But what if the root isn't just in your mind, but in a tiny, powerful gland in your neck? What if the relentless, chronic stress of American life is directly hijacking one of your body's master regulators? This isn't about occasional stress. It's about the toxic, unending strain that has become our baseline, and its profound, physical conversation with your thyroid. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a connection that millions feel but few truly understand: the burnout connection between American stress and your thyroid. First, let's meet the thyroid. This small, butterfly-shaped gland at the base of your throat is your body's metabolic thermostat. For the thyroid to do its job, it relies on a delicate feedback loop with the brain, called the HPD axis. Think of it like this. Your brain's hypothalamus sends a message to the pituitary gland, which then whispers to the thyroid, "Make more hormones." It's a perfectly balanced, elegant conversation. But into this quiet dialogue bursts a loud, screaming, and constant third party, the American stress response. I'm not talking about the acute stress of running from a predator. I mean the chronic, psychological stress of modern life, the 24/7 work emails, financial anxiety, social comparison on screens, and the sheer pace of expectation. This type of stress activates a different system, the HPA axis. When your brain perceives a threat, like a looming deadline, your adrenal glands pump out cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Cortisol's job is to mobilize energy for immediate survival. In short bursts, this is brilliant. But in our modern life, cortisol isn't a temporary visitor. It becomes a permanent, loud roommate in your body's hormonal house. And this roommate bullies your thyroid in several devastating ways. First, high, sustained cortisol sends a signal to your brain that the body is in crisis. From a survival standpoint, long-term projects like high metabolic function are luxuries you can't afford in an emergency. So, cortisol tells the brain to turn down the signal to the thyroid. It's like your brain is turning down the thermostat to conserve fuel during a perceived war. This can lead to what's called low T3 syndrome, where your whole metabolic engine is deliberately throttled. But cortisol doesn't stop there. It also disrupts the conversion of the storage hormone T4 into the active, usable T3. This conversion happens primarily in your liver. Then there's the assault on the gut-thyroid connection, which is massive and often overlooked. A significant portion of T4 is converted to T3 in the gut, with help from a healthy microbiome. Chronic stress wrecks gut health. It can cause leaky gut and decimate your beneficial gut bacteria. This impaired gut function means poor conversion of thyroid hormones and increased inflammation throughout your body. So, stress attacks your thyroid's function at the source, in its conversion, and in its delivery to your cells. Now, let's layer on the classic American lifestyle factors that amplify this sabotage. First, the standard American diet. It's often deficient in the very nutrients the thyroid needs as building blocks: iodine, selenium, zinc, iron, and vitamin D. At the same time, it's flooded with inflammatory foods like refined sugars and processed oils, which can trigger autoimmune reactions. This brings us to the second amplifier: autoimmunity. The most common cause of hypothyroidism in the U.S. is Hashimoto's thyroiditis, an autoimmune condition where your body's own immune system attacks and slowly destroys the thyroid gland. And what's a known trigger for autoimmune flare-ups? You guessed it, chronic stress. The inflammation from a poor diet and the immune dysregulation from stress create a perfect storm for Hashimoto's to ignite or worsen. The symptoms of this stress thyroid burnout are insidious. It's not just fatigue. It's unrefreshing sleep and morning exhaustion. It's not just weight gain. It's weight that won't budge no matter what, because your metabolic rate is in the basement. It's brain fog, memory lapses, and feeling emotionally flat or depressed. It's hair loss, brittle nails, dry skin, and feeling constantly cold. For women, it often means menstrual irregularities. This isn't a personal failure. It is a physiological cascade, a body forced into conservation mode by a brain that believes it is in a perpetual state of emergency. So, what do we do? The path forward isn't just about taking a thyroid pill. though for many medication is essential. It's about addressing the stress-thyroid axis at its root. This means shifting from simply treating lab numbers to treating the entire stress system. First, you must become a detective of your own stress. Not just the obvious stuff, but the hidden stressors like perfectionism, chronic worry, and digital overload. Tools like heart rate variability tracking can give you objective data on whether your nervous system is in fight or flight or rest and digest mode. Second, support your adrenal glands and HPA axis. This means embracing your circadian rhythm, consistent sleep and wake times, and getting morning sunlight. Eat meals at regular times to provide predictable signals to a system that's craving stability. Nutritionally, move from a stressful, restrictive diet to a nourishing, anti-inflammatory one. Prioritize the thyroid's building blocks: seaweed for iodine, Brazil nuts for selenium, and pumpkin seeds for zinc. For those with Hashimoto's, exploring potential triggers like gluten and dairy can be revolutionary, but it must be done thoughtfully, not as another stressful diet rule. Most critically, you must redefine rest. In a culture that glorifies burnout, rest is a radical act. It's not just collapsing in front of a screen at the end of the day. It's intentional, non-negotiable activation of your parasympathetic nervous system, daily walks in nature, deep diaphragmatic breathing, and activities that create a sense of safety and pleasure without an agenda. This tells your stress axis the crisis is over, allowing it to resume normal communication with your thyroid. The goal here is empowerment, not overwhelm. You are not at the mercy of your stress or your thyroid. They are in a dialogue, and you have the power to change the conversation. By understanding that your unexplained burnout has a profound physical pathway, you can stop blaming yourself and start supporting your biology. It's about building a life that signals to your body, we are safe, we have enough, we can thrive, rather than one that screams, emergency, every single day. Your thyroid is listening. It's time to start speaking its language of calm, nourishment, and steady, sustainable rhythm. That is the true foundation of healing the burnout connection.